Yeah.
Yeah, now you're good.
Order the Wednesday, June 14th, 2023 Chaska Planning Commission meeting. Liz, would you take roll?
Yes. Commissioner Campbell,
Here.
Aswa.
Yep.
Lori,
Present.
Bansky,
Here.
Austin,
Here.
Trudy,
Here.
Carver,
Here.
Wilson,
Here.
Chairperson Brass.
Here. That will move on to adopt the agenda. Would someone like to make a motion to adopt?
Make a motion to adopt tonight's agenda.
And is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Visitor presentation. If there is someone that would like to speak to the planning commission about something not on the agenda tonight, would be your moment. Can we check if there's anybody online? Nobody online? Okay. We will move on to approving the previous meeting minutes. Everyone's had a chance to review those. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the previous meeting minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the May 10th.
Commissioner Gory, is there a second? Commissioner Baswa, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Brings us to item 6. 6A is the consent item to recommend approval of final plat, site and building plan and final plat for Chaska Yards, Carver County CDA PC 2023-15. This would be kind of the final time anyone has any questions, wants to address the staff. If there's nothing, if someone would like to make a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve consent item 6A.
Motion by Commissioner Bansky,
Second.
second by Purdy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That would lead us right into Article 7 with Liz, if you would like to take it away.
Yes.
Thank you.
Want to see my screen up there? I'm assuming so.
Yep.
So we have a preliminary site and building plan in front of us this evening for the business known as Crown Extrusions. They're located at the address of 4035 Norex Drive. So to give you an idea of where that site is located, the aerial image highlighted in blue is the site of 4035 Norex Drive. It's located in the north area of the city, in the northern industrial park area of Chaska. It does fall within kind of the Chaska-Chanhassen border, so its eastern property line abuts Chanhassen's jurisdiction. This property is in the northeast corner of Lyman Boulevard, also known as County Road 18 and Norex Drive, which is the local street access system within that industrial area. This site is directly off of Norex Drive. So in terms of previous approvals that have occurred on this site, it does date back to 1986 when it was officially platted and rezoned to a planned industrial district. Back in August 2018, it was rezoned to PID 8. The zoning regulations didn't change with that rezoning, rather it clarified the standards that were already set forth in the PID 2. So just want to note that. And then it was March of 1993 when the original site and building plan came through for the existing building that sits on the site today. The business at that time was Pure Humidifier. And they were approved for a 28,000 square foot building area. And then they also showed a future expansion area on the site as well that got approved with that site and building plan. Then in September of 1999, another site and building plan came forward for the building addition of 32,000 square feet. And again, this was when Pure Humidifier still occupied the site. However, they did not move forward with that construction. So in terms of the previous approvals, this did not warrant concept plan approval process for this building addition, as previous approvals already anticipated a building addition out here. And that's quite common actually for these older industrial sites, is building additions were actually shown on the original site plans, so that in the future, the process itself would be more streamlined and set up for building those additions. So that's why we're at preliminary site and building plan this evening for this request. So they do have an additional step with the city that'll come actually in next month's meeting agenda. All three steps require planning commission and city council. So they'll come to you first and then go to city council thereafter if recommendations of approval are received. This is the existing conditions plan. So the site that this building occupies today is a little over 5 acres in size. The existing building is more oriented on the west side of the site. And again, that totals around 27,000 square feet in building footprint and overall building square footage. They also have a parking lot just to the south of the building, as well as some parking stalls to the north of the building and a loading area on the north side as well. They have a total of 30 stalls today. There are 2 access points into the site off of Norex Drive. So one to access the employee parking lot, and then a north access to access the loading area and additional parking. There is a wetland that is on the site, which has been delineated, and that exists on the southeast portion of the site. So on the south border of the site, and then kind of into that eastern area as well. So what they're requesting is preliminary site and building plan for a 30,000 square foot building addition. They're also adding 33 more stalls of parking on the site. In addition to the improvements that will happen to the parking lot, their south access point will move up north 20 more feet, which will actually help with the proximity to the roundabout that exists on Lyman Boulevard that you can see on the existing plan here. So in terms of the building addition, again, 30,000 square feet of warehouse addition will be added on the east side of the existing building. The parking lot, again, will also be improved as well. So in total, they'll offer 66 parking stalls on site, which is 36 more than what they offer today. In terms of what this building addition will do in terms of their employee count out there, they currently have 30 employees on this site. They only envision that there will be a 10% increase of their employees with this addition added. So that's about 3 employees total. So with 33 employees and 66 parking stalls, they have more than adequate amount of stalls to accommodate their growth there. With the building addition, they're also adding another loading area that'll be on the northeast side of the building. So it'll be kind of in a screened an area from the building and existing tree cover out there. Also want to show the landscape plan that they're proposing. Most of the plantings will be around the parking lot, the stormwater pond, and on the northeast side where the new loading area is going. In terms of the city's ordinance, they do meet the requirements for the size of addition. So there are no recommended or advising regulations that need to be followed there. In terms of the building design, they will be matching what's existing out there. And for building additions and existing buildings, the policy has always been to match the existing building with an existing building, whether it was built before our standards were really in place for industrial buildings. So they are matching that and providing that cohesive addition onto the building. So the materials that are proposed are rock face and single score block, and then a level of glass that would happen around the added entrance to the warehouse area. One small change is the Building height will, with the building addition, would go up 3 feet taller than the existing, so it'll kind of have a step up appearance from the parking lot. The floor plan is shown on this left image for us to refer back to if we need to, but again, the addition is basically shown on the east side there, and it's all segmented for warehouse space. So with that, we are asking you to make a recommendation of approval of the preliminary site and building plan for Crown Extrusions located at 4035 Norex Drive. And then based on the conditions of approval that are in the staff report, if this is to move on this evening, it would go to City Council on Monday, June 26th, which is a change from the original date of June 19th, but with the federal holiday of Juneteenth, it'll be moved to June 26th. Happy to answer any questions. We do have the applicant and property owner in the audience. Do you have any questions for them? Otherwise, thank you.
First, we'll start with the commission if there's questions for the staff.
Staff. Just more of a clarification on the parking. So did the parking requirements change from mid to late 90s when it was built to what our calculation is now? Because I was surprised to hear that they only had 30 spots and they have 30 employees in the facility currently, and they're going to double their parking, but only got 3 people. So I was trying to square up the math as into what was required originally.
And I don't think our parking regulations necessarily changed back then. The parking that they have on site today matches up with what our regulations required back then. And employee counts kind of grows over time too. So I don't think they had, well, actually, when it was pure humidifier, I don't think their employee count was necessarily the same amount at that time.
The reason why I asked that is because obviously half of it's going to be warehouse space today. What requirements and or limitations does the city put on their ability to use their facility after they've gone through the planning to say that they only need 65 spaces, but they could easily convert half of that warehouse space into manufacturing without seeking approval to do that?
There's still an approval process that would have to take place if they were to add more impervious surface to the
No,
property.
but I'm saying if they were to convert the 30,000 extension that they're going to build now and convert that from warehouse to manufacturing, which by our math would require additional parking. But if they don't have to come through the city to actually redesign their warehouse space to make it manufacturing, they can just do, or are there requirements within that?
No, and I mean, this is no different than, you know, maybe an office building that wants to convert to, you know, a different use from that. There's a building permit process for that, in which case there is an administrative review from planning. But it doesn't re-trigger a site plan.
Right, it doesn't come back.
process.
No, and that was the part where it's like, where is it triggered for basically your department to be able to say, hey, well, you've got to make sure you address the parking side of things. Okay.
I don't have any specific examples, but I know there's other buildings in the community that have come through this process with the intended use of being warehouse. So then they're obligated to meet that warehouse requirement with that same, you know, possibility in the future. I think there's also some practical limitations that exist in that scenario too, where, you know, they've got the 66 parking spaces that they're proposing. It's a pretty constrained site, so adding more is going to require some work on, you know, stormwater and things to do that. So you're absolutely right. I mean, they could take some of that warehouse and change it to manufacturing space and bring in more employees. But at some point, they hit a practical limitation where their employees don't have a place to park, or they got to do shifts or something like that, right? Because there's not on-street parking around this site. So there's some of that just sort of de facto, right? There's going to be only so much they can do with that building.
And the reason why I was asking is more from somebody that's in manufacturing and would go through and build a warehouse space. It's like, well, where's the trigger when it comes to the things that we're approving here within the, you know, the building, the planning cycle. So that's
Yeah, I mean,
not a big deal. I mean, it's just a matter
I
of,
do see it a lot where companies do that. They change a little bit. However, if they do ever add, let's say, office need to pull a permit, and then upon permit review, let's say they want to build another bathroom, it would be reviewed at city staff at that point, or planning would review and go, hey, parking ratio changed and whatnot. So permittable actions would then trigger that. But otherwise, you're right. I mean, I think I have a lot of tenants that,
push the boundaries a little.
you know, and on a plan, when you're drawing up office, it's not a conference room, it's a large office. You know, I mean, it's, you know, it's kind of the way it goes.
Mhm.
Yep.
I'm good.
But I think you're right, the practical standpoint, it's at some point, push comes to shove and you can't accommodate what you want to do. Anything else, Commissioner Olson?
No, I'm good. No.
Would the applicant like to, any questions for us?
What do you guys manufacture?
We extrude aluminum and at our main facility in off of Columbia Court. And this is the secondary facility that we fabricate and drill, mill, and cut to length. So most of the space is going to be taken up by large CNC machines. And the reason we have only limited.
Is it possible for you to come?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep, thank you.
I don't think you want to give me a microphone. The reason why we have limited space and it works for us is we're running 2 shifts. So we're running 20 hours a day. So we were kind of split up over the course of a day. And your point is correct. We'd have angry employees if they didn't have a place to go. They park in the street and that never works well in Chaska. So, this is our secondary operation there is milling, drilling, cutting to length. And then from there it goes to customers. So.
A quick comment. Could you also state your name for the record?
My name is Bill Schumer.
And I'm looking at the warehouse addition. And I'm assuming, it looks like I was looking at the plans and the drainage and the utility easements. You've got an angled wall on those 2 docks on the east side. Is that correct? So I would imagine, I'm just saying this as an aspect of like my opinion of it as an industrial broker, that I hate to see that because I don't know how long your product is. It looks like you probably can't get away from it. Is that because there's an easement there? Is that why that wall's angled and you can't make it
Towards the lakeside?
Can you pull up the?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to.
just, you know, I'm just as like, if I was like, if I worked with you,
Right. Right.
I'm sure the architect did it for a reason, but if you have long product coming off the semi truck on a fork and make that turn when you have a angled like that.
Trust me, this is a big change from what we originally came up with because we were trying to maximize. We bought this property 8 years ago and with pure humidifier.
A little nook that sticks out, you know, where the
Right.
trucks are, how
Right.
it angles. I see it's probably because of that utility easement. That's got to be the reason I'm
Right there. Well, as the trucks will come in, they'll offload there,
Yeah.
the long lengths, a
So if
20-foot
they
length.
unload the trucks inside the building, the wall is close behind you on the far dock.
We pace it off.
You're good?
Yeah, we're,
Okay.
trust me, we don't want to damage this as it comes over.
Well, no, I'm just more of like a.
It does make sense. If you can let us open that up another 20 feet.
That's why I was asking. I'm assuming it's because of the easement or something going on there with the architect.
That's the only reason. Yeah, absolutely.
I bring buyers through buildings. It's like, ooh, like,
Right.
like that kind of thing.
Had I known now
More of
what,
a,
sorry.
my expertise
Right.
to you, like, hey, if you could avoid it, it'd be great, you know, just as a resale value of the building.
The only way to avoid that is to eliminate it, and then we're taking away valuable floor space, which we really need. It's already chopped up enough right now when we originally
Yeah.
planned. And that's why we kind of bought this building, because Pure Humidifier had the approved plans, and I've got blueprints, and that's all thrown away right now. Yeah, but nowhere near what this is.
Right.
So this has shrunk down quite a bit. So it's kind of a, it's a disappointment for the site. It's a beautiful little pond there, and that's kind of been a headache for us too. So
Yeah.
as far as, yeah, fill it in.
Yeah. All right.
Right.
Yeah, I don't have any other issues or anything. I just was more of a recommendation. Yeah, this is pretty standard. I don't know. Does anyone else have any questions?
This is the longest gap between preliminary or concept.
I mean, honestly, for the North Industrial Park, no, it's not. From the time that most of these plans were approved in the 90s, you know, and then up until now, when they finally reach their point of expansion needs, it's pretty typical, I would say. Yeah.
Oh, with that,
I'll make a motion to recommend approval of the final site and building plan for a 30,000 square foot warehouse addition at 4035 Norex Drive, PC number 2023-14, subject to the 13 following conditions.
first by Urbanski. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Austin. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. With that, you guys are free to go. Yep. Under business, there's nothing. Receive other meeting minutes hereby are received. I think that's all we need. And then we can adjourn. Anything anyone would like to bring up? Talk about roundtable?
How are we doing on the Highway 41 project? Is that on schedule? Are we?
Yeah, it's moving ahead, and I think you know, by and large, we're continuing to pace with the schedule that we would hope for. The weather has been cooperative so far. You know, we haven't had a whole lot of rain, so that's been positive. I just noticed as I was driving in, actually, there's some blacktop that was laid today at the intersection of 41 and 61. So the focus at this point in the project has really been both ends of the project. So there's been work being done on the bridge with resurfacing there and bringing it down to First Street or just before Second Street. And then the work that you've seen at 41 and 61. The desire being to get that done first, and then we can open those up, which then allows for you know, through traffic to begin again using the side streets. So it'll be limited to personal vehicles, right? The big trucks will continue to need a detour. But once we're able to open that up, you'll start seeing, you know, traffic kind of coming through downtown again. That'll be an exciting new phase and an interesting new phase to see how that really plays out. Introducing that through traffic again, especially in the city streets. But you know, we've been preparing for that, and we'll be ready for that. Then the focus will turn kind of in between and get that work done. So as of now, we're continuing to meet the pace that we're hoping for.
Up the north side, Commissioner also just saying he saw a sign that the road's closing the 26th. I saw the 19th for many days saying.
Yep.
Close. So do you know when they're closing that road?
What I know is what's posted right now. And so that's tied to the Costco project and the roundabout at PV. There's also simultaneously, the MnDOT is doing a resurfacing project from, I think it's just north of Pioneer Trail, at least all the way up to Lyman. And it might be even further than that.
There's two
up to 7. Excuse me?
Two different closures then?
Yeah, so we'll continue on the closure downtown.
Not this, but like up there.
Yeah, so up there, that closure will be kind of driven by the time frame that needs to happen for the roundabout to get built.
Yeah.
But MnDOT had also scheduled their resurfacing project in the same timeline. So we've worked with them, you know, to coordinate those two together so that, you know, we're not coming back next year with a resurfacing project and closing again. So yeah, they're kind of, you know, getting two birds with one stone. through that.
A big retaining wall for Costco going in.
Yeah, there's been some solid progress on that site. I think over the last, at least visibly, right? So, yeah.
Have we figured out the bumps? And the intersection.
The
of
roller
Pine-
coaster?
They seem to be better though.
Drivable now.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
says bumps.
Back down.
Yeah.
Oh,
That ends up being an intersection of a county and a state road. So,
Right.
you know, you want to see a blue.
Not us.
Yeah. But, you know, we've got limited.
Yeah.
Yeah, some respect that's okay because we've got plenty of projects we're moving on right now, but yeah.
Anything else? I'll let you guys know, I woke up this morning, I'm like, there's no better way to spend my birthday than here at Planning Commission.
Happy birthday.
I was like, this is what I wanted to do with my
We
birthday.
got you a present. We
Yeah.
ended at
It is
7:26.
The quickest. So I can't wait to go home then. I have to
Yes.
make a motion to adjourn.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Victor Olson. Oh, that's like, I'm gonna give DeBasso up.
That's fine.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Motion carries.
Happy birthday.